Hi everyone, Matthew Gallagher here from California State Summer School for the Arts. Welcome to this application webinar. 5 days or so before the deadline coming up on February 28th. We're really excited to present to you a bit about CSSA and our new discipline in architecture and environmental design. Just a couple of quick notes before we dive in. You can drop some questions that you have into the chat, and a couple of my colleagues will be helping to answer those questions. We'll take questions actually at the end of the presentation as well. We have about a 10-15 minute slide deck that we'll show, and then open up for your questions, and we'll answer them aloud. So load up the chat with lots of questions. We're here to help, here to answer anything that you'd like to know more about. And thank you to my colleagues who are here to join. So we'll go ahead and start with a presentation, a short presentation on CSSA. And let me see here. It's not letting me advance. There we go. All right, so some quick notes about CSSA. Our program has about 500 students, and we have about 150 faculty who come together and comprise the CSSA community each summer. We have, as you can see, a really great ratio of faculty to students. They get a lot of one-on-one attention, a lot of individual instruction that's really tailored to their interests. So a really exciting dynamic in the classroom. And we aim to enroll students from all 58 counties from around the state of California. But our legislation does allow us to take students from out of state as well, up to about 20 students coming from out of state. Our mission is multifaceted. First and foremost, we were founded about 40 years ago to train and educate California's youth so that they contribute to California's creative economy, and which comprises all of the areas of the arts and is one of the largest business sectors within the state, so that talent would stay in the state of California. And then secondly, we also aim to reflect the diversity of the state of California in our student body. That includes the cultural diversity of the state, the geographic diversity, and socioeconomically as well. All right, so our location, we will be located this coming summer at Cal Poly Pomona. It is our first time on the campus. The campus is beautiful, expansive facilities for the arts, for design, performing arts. Really excited to be making this campus move. What's really just so enriching about CSSA is that students have the opportunity to live like they're a college student while they're still in high school when they come to the program. So they live in the main residential hall. They have their dining in the main cafeteria on campus, and then they have access to all of the labs and shops, performance spaces, state-of-the-art equipment, and it's a very safe environment with 24/7 safety and security, as well as RAs who live with the students in the dorms. We also take students off campus. So individual disciplines will end up going on field trips to see, for example, a design studio or buildings, or in the case of film is always a good example. They might go to a film studio. So students do get off campus within their own discipline. And then every Sunday, we offer an optional field trip as well, resourcing the different cultural venues in the Southern California region. In years past, it's included the Getty Center, Disneyland, and others. And we'll be announcing field trips to the invited students at some point later this spring for the 2026 session. All right, so a few nuts and bolts on how to apply. Applying to CSSA does take some time. So if you're watching the webinar and you've not yet applied to the architecture environmental design discipline or another discipline that you're interested in, can in fact apply to multiple disciplines. Please start ASAP. Give it a go tonight. Log in. You can access the online application from our website, and you want to get started ASAP. There is a $20 fee at the end of the application that we ask students to pay. However, if you're economically disadvantaged, you can't afford to pay the $20 at this time, no problem. There's a checkbox at the end of the application that you can click, and it will provide you with a fee waiver. So please don't hesitate there. We ask for references from a teacher, an artist, a mentor, someone that you've worked closely with who knows about your motivation and has worked with you closely before. This is not a reference letter. They don't have to do anything. All we need is their contact information. As your application is being reviewed, if we have a question, we may reach out to them and inquire further. So just their contact info. We also ask for transcripts. Transcripts can be unofficial. You can download them from your school portal and upload that copy into the online app. You can also stop by your guidance office. They may be able to print out an unofficial copy for you. But upload that transcript and just know that we're not looking at your individual courses or your individual grades. What we're really focused on is making sure that your grade level is appropriate to attend CSSSA. Students can be as young as currently in grade 8, so they're entering high school right after they do CSSSA this summer, or they can be as old as grade 12, meaning they've graduated from high school and they're doing CSSSA that summer after graduation. And then all of the age ranges or grades in between. And then last but not least, each of the disciplines has a series of arts assignments to complete your application. We'll go over in more detail the architecture and environmental design arts assignments, but know for any of the disciplines you're applying to, there are some of those specific assignments to complete. All right, as I mentioned before, February 28th, application deadline. Please make note and try to get your application in a few days early. The 28th this year is on a Saturday, and our offices are actually not open for business. So you want to make sure Wednesday, maybe Thursday at the latest, you're ready to hit that submit button. That way you still have Thursday, Friday to ask questions if something doesn't quite go as planned. Unfortunately, every year we have a student or two who waits until the very last minute, and they are in some cases out of luck because they had a technical difficulty during that final hour. So please don't wait. Get your application in ASAP. Once they're in, our faculty and department chairs will review the applications throughout the month of March. And so we typically are getting decisions out in April. So we're going to do our best to get them out as early as possible this year, but you should know hopefully quite soon if you've been invited to attend. And as I said, apply as early as possible, given that the deadline is this Saturday. Just to touch on tuition and financial aid, our tuition for the year is set as $5,174. That includes everything from the classes you're taking to the dorm, the cafeteria, and all of your supplies. Uh, I'll talk about financial aid in just a moment, but know that usually 4-week programs that are residential are double the cost, if not more, to attend. All students attending CSSSA are receiving funding through the state of California, and so it is a much reduced cost from what you'll find at a lot of other summer programs out there. Now, $5,000 is still a lot of money, and so we highly encourage that any student who finds that tuition to be a barrier applies for financial aid as well. The financial aid application is right in that online application. So a parent or guardian will need to sit down with you and complete that application thoroughly. It does take a little bit of time, so all the more reason to apply early. But again, when you're in the online application, you'll get to a question that says, would you like to be considered for financial aid? Click yes, and then it'll drop down a whole list of questions and request a few attachments from a parent or guardian. It has no bearing on getting invited to attend CSSSA or not. So there's no reason not to apply, even if you just like to see if you get something offered. Please do apply. We have a lot of financial aid money available, and we want to make sure to meet the needs of every student out there if they're invited to attend. So please apply for aid. All right, with that, I'm very excited to introduce you to our brand new chair of the Architecture and Environmental Design program, Rowan Gayo Sutherland. And Rowan, I'll kick it over to you to talk a little bit about your background and your experiences, as well as give an overview at this early stage. It's all still in development of where things are in your planning for this coming summer. So take it away.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Matthew. And hi, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm really excited for this summer arts program in architecture and environmental design. When I was a student, I was also the kind to do all the applications and even send my essays in late. So I do also emphasize it could take time, it could be stressful, and you could have technical issues. So also want to encourage everybody to apply as quickly as possible. I started my career working with the United Nations, international nonprofits, local nonprofits in different countries as well, in the themes of sustainable development, adaptation to climate change, and through the work, trying to integrate all of these notions of sustainable architecture, which we can go into detail, but really based on vernacular architecture. How have people built their homes, built their cities for thousands of years. And why? Why? Often because those materials are close by and they design them in a way to keep them warm, keep them cool, even though the outside temperature changes. So for me, it's a part of the architecture, and what we're doing at this stage is moving back in time, inspiring ourselves from ancestral traditions. And at the same time, we're able to collect all these new technologies, all this new knowledge which is around, and create a really interesting fusion. I think we're really at a moment in architecture where we're going to be able to revert a lot of the damage that we've done so far. And it's a very exciting time to be an architect, to be in this field. So I really want to share this encouragement and excitement with you, if it's a path that you're looking to go on. I teach at Cal Poly. I teach at the architecture department. I also teach at the Lyle Center, which is part of the environmental design department. It's called the Lyle Center for Regenerative Studies. If any of you are thinking of studying at Cal Poly, I would definitely recommend to take a few lessons there. And we're going to be looking into this summer, potentially even having some hands-on experience there, maybe some tours so you can see it and you can understand the concept behind the design of it as well. Then on the side, I have a business called Regenerative Systems. We do a lot of humanitarian work, disaster relief work, also residential work for different people in the US, but also around the world. So I'm going to be very happy to share some of this experience with you during the summer course, talking about different projects that I've done in different places, and trying to explain the differences, why we went for something specific here and not there, and so on. So I want to share my experience with you as much as possible. And then the idea is also to bring on a lot of experts in the field who have the experience, who are very happy to be able to share it with you, who could be opportunities as well in the future for work, collaboration, and so on. But the idea is really to bring together a great group of experts to be able to teach you. And the hands-on experience is going to be a big focus. We don't want to just be in class and learn the theory. We will have some of that, of course, and we want you to be able to learn how to model, how to design, and we will have some lessons showing different theories that are important to know, but we also want you to get the experience from building. So we'll be definitely carrying out a lot of hands-on activities, which I think you should be very interested in. Then the design of the course is 4 weeks, and we've divided the weeks into themes. The idea is to base them on the elements. So we have the earth, we have water, fire, air, and each one will reflect an aspect of architecture. That's really the idea behind it. So we have, the earth, so we're looking at the materials in which we're building with, potentially also landscaping aspects that were taken into account, biophilic design and all the rest of it. And then each other one will look and go in depth into that topic. And throughout the weeks, we'll have specific group works that are going to carry on, so that there's also these specific projects that we're able to continue from A to Z. The design fundamentals plus group projects, that's really what that is about. It's about learning how to design by choosing an activity, something that you're interested in personally and that you could take on with you, that you can work on and come out with that experience. We also want to encourage people to work in group, to learn how to collaborate. It's not always easy, but it's part of life. And it's a really good it's a good experience. It's good experience to have in the future to learn how to work in group. In terms of the real world industry exposure, that's what I was referring to before about the different people who we're going to be bringing on, showcasing. Potentially, we'll have some field visits as well to specific projects which will be close by to showcase real life examples of what it is that we're talking about. And again, coming back to the regenerative design focus, it is something that the world is moving towards. And so the new generation is really going to be the generation that will be taking this on and making this the norm. So it is really an honor to be able to share this knowledge with you, knowing that, you're then going to be able to sow the seeds or have it grow from the seeds, so to speak. And I was wondering, maybe Matthew, I have a video. I don't know if I would be able to share my screen. It's a project that we've been working on. It's with the Green Building Council, the California part of it, and they had a challenge, and this challenge is about water efficiency in homes. And so we created a video to go with our application. And so I think it could give you a little bit of an idea about what what this regenerative architecture is about.
Yeah, take it
Uh,
away. Thank you.
all right, great. I'll share it now. Let me see where it is. There we go. Let me know if you can hear it or not. It's is that out? Positive. Not
Uh,
just in terms of electricity, it's net positive in
Owen, the
water.
video isn't advancing forward. Oh, it might have caught up. Here we go.
Okay,
Do you
okay,
want to
let's
just
try.
rewind for a minute? Yeah, let's see.
Okay, we'll do. Yeah. Let's see a little bit more. Not just in terms of electricity, it's net positive in water. We don't rely on municipal supply, pump groundwater, or import water. All our water comes from the air, rain, dew, atmospheric moisture. Instead of importing and dumping water, we work with the cycle. We harvest it, use it, reuse it, and move it through the system multiple times before it returns to the land, where it is taken up by plants or infiltrates to recharge groundwater. Nothing leaves the site. This house doesn't just use water, it regenerates it.
This cycle begins on the roof and in the sky. Rain, dew, and ambient moisture are captured year-round. Water passes through initial filtration, then flows into a cool, dark underground cistern made from recycled plastic. Before entering the house, it receives final conditioning. Every drop is harvested, filtered, and stored on site.
Inside, water is used with intention, since not every task requires drinking quality water. Filtration matches function. Water from showers, sinks, and laundry is treated, stored, and reused, moving through tiered bioreactors like a cascade. Cleaner water service the higher need uses first, then steps down for lower grade purposes. Treated gray water irrigates edible and fire-resistant plants and any surplus flushes toilets. So every drop is used again and again.
At the toilet, water becomes black water, but still nothing is wasted. It enters a biodigester where anaerobic bacteria break it down and produce methane. That methane fuels our cooking and supplements the on-demand hot water alongside our solar heating. The remaining bile becomes nutrient-rich fertilizer for edible and native trees that double as a living fire barrier, even when human waste returns to the regenerative loop.
Movement requires energy, and ours is renewable. Pumps in the project run on solar wind hybrid systems. Water heating comes from the rooftop solar, and when needed, biogas functions as a backup. The system in this project powers itself. Water from air, energy from sun, wind, and biology, and nutrients are returned back into the soil. The Casa Atlas doesn't drain infrastructure. It functions as an ecosystem, balanced, cyclical, and net positive.
There you go. That was just just a little parenthesis. I hope it was interesting, and That's basically the idea of, the week which will be about water. We'd be looking at water harvesting, filtration, reuse of wastewaters, all of these different aspects that can make a house much more resilient, especially in California with the issues that we have with water. I think that's pretty much it from my side. Thanks so much.
Okay, wonderful. Let me pull the slideshow back up. Okay, bear with me one second. Okay. Are you able to see the slideshow again? Okay, great. So thank you for that, Rowan. I'll jump in now to the assignments for the application. You'll see in on our website and then also within the online application instructions for what to do for these arts assignments. There are two things, assignment A and B. And assignment A is to essentially design a park, a building, or a city of your dreams. You can use any medium of your choosing. It can be digital, it can be analog, it can be drawing based, it could be three-dimensional. You could use found objects, found materials. It really is completely open to whatever medium you'd like to utilize. And then when you document whatever you've made, you can submit one image, or if you'd like, you can also submit a few details. The online app will allow you to submit two additional images as details. Not required though, one image is fine if you think that covers the entirety of your design. And then part B is to write a short description. This is not a page, it's really just a one paragraph summary of your concept so that the folks who are reviewing your application will know what you were thinking about with the design. All of this is uploaded to the online application. You'll see where those upload fields are. And if you have any questions or issues, please reach out, to CISA as you're uploading those assignments. Rowan, did you want to say anything about just sort of words of encouragement for how they can think about their design?
Yeah, I think I had the issue. I never felt that I could draw properly, so I just want to encourage everybody to just do whatever they feel comfortable with. I think Matthew, you had mentioned at one point, they can even carve something into a potato. It's really open to you. It's open to your creativity. We just want to see that you understand more or less, what architecture is about, the different things to look at. If you could already integrate also sustainable or regenerative aspects within your ideas, that would be amazing to see as well. So I think, yeah, that it should be easy, but in any case, if you have any questions, we're here to answer them now and of course later.
Wonderful. And then I'll just end by a shout out to any returning students. If any of you have gone to CISA before for another discipline and you're interested in coming back to CISA for architecture and environmental design, there's just one additional essay, a one-page, 500-word essay to submit explaining your objectives for coming back to the program, and then make sure that your arts assignments and things like that are all new. Ultimately, we want to see your growth and make sure that in returning to CISA, it's a growth opportunity for you. Wonderful. Well, I'll stop the share here and we'll go ahead and dive into the chat with any questions that have come up. Okay. So first question I see, how many students will be admitted for the architecture discipline? I can maybe speak to that one right off the bat. This is a brand new pilot, and so we're anticipating around 20 to maybe 25 students, a much more boutique, intimate program for this first year. And then Wendy for the acceptance rate. This is our first time doing it. Overall, around 40% are invited to attend CISA as kind of an overall average, but it really does depend discipline by discipline. But honestly, whenever students ask that question, we sort of say, don't worry about that. This is really about you expressing yourself, expressing what your goals are and your interests are, and really play your interest and your goals as a strength in your application, and don't worry about what anyone else is submitting. Just focus on doing your best. All right. What else? Does a CISA campus change each year, or is Cal Poly Pomona the location for the next few years? We are anticipating for the next 3 to 5 years that we will be at Cal Poly Pomona. Our prior host site, we were there for whatever, 30 years, something like that. So this is a big change, and we are excited for Cal Poly Pomona to be our next home for the next several years. Just so you know, historically, going back many years ago, the idea was that CISA would change locations every year, which thinking about that move is quite challenging. So uh, we really are excited by this upcoming move and sticking around Cal Poly Pomona for quite some time. But we were at many other campuses early on when we were first established. All right, another question. Do we have to live on campus? So CISA does require that students live in the campus housing. However, if as an accommodation, you would like to request living off campus, we can always consider, a reason for commuting. So what you can do is email comments at cisa.ca.gov. If one of my colleagues could put that in the chat, that would be great. And just let us know what you're thinking about, and if you had a request to live off campus, we can certainly consider that. Thank you, Jessica. All right, and then do most returning students pick different areas of focus or the same one multiple times? If only once, is it better to attend CISA as a ninth grader or wait until a little bit older? Rowan, I might kick the first part over to you. So you mentioned the different themes by week. Is that something they choose, or is that something that all students would be exploring?
That would be something that all students would be exploring. Yeah, I wasn't sure if the question was for recurring students, students who've come to the summer arts in the past and done, say, one subject and came back and did another. But
Uh,
for for us specifically, we would be all of the students would be together, and sometimes we might have several activities. We'll divide people into groups, and then each group will go rotating between the activities. So we just want to make sure that all of the students would be doing the same thing and learning the same things during the activities.
Great. And then if it is for returning students, we have students who will come back for the same discipline in some cases. And we also have students who apply to a new discipline entirely. So, really just think about your intentions. And in that returning student essay, you can describe why you want to come back for the same discipline or for a new one. And we do receive both each year. And then regarding the ninth grader, or wait until I'm older, I always say if you're interested as a ninth grader, then great, apply, and we'd love to see your application. And we certainly have students who are in ninth grade or entering ninth grade when they attend. Some students don't come to the arts or their interests until a little bit later, and so it really is up to you, and it depends on where you're at with your creativity and your interests. So I wouldn't say it's better or worse. Being in ninth grade versus 11. All right, those are the rest of the questions in the chat. I'd love to just open it up for any additional questions that you have, either about architecture and environmental design, about the application process, anything that comes to mind. Okay. Rowan, so I'll let you maybe answer this one. And I will just say we don't have a policy for it across the board, but are AI tools encouraged or discouraged for the submission? Or is handwritten or digital better?
I think, yeah, no, that is a very good question. I feel AI now is part of our lives, so I will encourage generally students to learn how to work with it. I think the most important though is that we want to see that you've thought about the subject. So if you're going to be creating an image with AI, you would have to give it the prompt. So therefore, you're telling it what it is that you want, and that has to come out also in your explanation. So we need to see how the image reflects your whole narrative within what you're submitting. So I think for me that's important, but I wouldn't rule it out. But I think we do also want to see the reflection that's behind it, why you chose what you did. The image behind me is AI generated, so I'm not going to tell you that it's not possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would reiterate that the prompt, part B, to write about, your design, you could talk about the process. Even if you go back to that potato idea, you could talk about everyone's going to do potatoes now. We'll have AI potatoes. You can, really think about the process that you chose and, describe that in your narrative description. It's always interesting to know how you came to presenting your design. So think about that as an additional component. And then another one for you, Rowan, will we be learning about how to use 3D softwares for architecture during this course? We're still
Yes,
early in the planning stages, but go ahead.
right, right. Yes, we are. Yes, we're thinking to have a faculty from Cal Poly who teaches first year students, and for her to be able to teach you how to use that kind of software. So we definitely plan to. Yes.
Great questions. We will just do a last call.
Yeah, Matthew, I have some questions as I've been going on the recruiting trail. Do you mind if I ask a few?
Yeah, please.
So do students need a lot of experience in order to get accepted into this discipline?
So I will first answer for CISA, and then Rowan, if you want to kind of back it up with your 2 cents, feel free to do so. So across the board, we really are encouraging anyone to apply to CISA, regardless of their background or experiences working in the arts. Some students are coming to CISA with a lot of creativity and a lot of interest, but they haven't done a lot yet, and exploring their craft. And so they're coming. Everyone's coming to learn. And then we have some students who have been doing, their various discipline for years, either in their high school systems or outside of. So it's a whole mix of different levels of experience, but that's part of the beauty of the coming together and establishing a community of artists working together. What takes precedent is the creativity and the drive that a student has. And you can be all levels of experience and exposure to the discipline and still have that creativity in the mix. So you can be very beginner, very new, and apply and attend CISA, or you can have a lot of experience. But you'll be working with students from different levels for sure within the program.
Yeah, and I feel personally, by the end of college, by the end of high school, beginning of college, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do either. So I definitely want to encourage if there's an interest just spiking you, but you've never had any experience in it, then I definitely encourage you to come on the course. And from what you'll learn in the course, hopefully it'll make you want to continue in that direction. But maybe it'll just serve you if one day you're building a house or an ADU or something. But I definitely encourage people who don't have any experience to join in. A lot of the building methods that we'll be looking at are often extremely simple. When I'm building a house and I organize a workshop for people to come and join us, it usually takes me between 5 and 10 minutes to explain the technique, and everybody is able to take it on and go for it. So for me, the experience is what we'll be getting during the summer course.
Thank you for that, Jessica. What else have you been noticing as you're visiting schools?
Um, Two more. I know you're still in the beginning and planning stages of this, but do you envision that there will be collaborative opportunities between disciplines, like, for example, visual arts and architecture and environmental design?
The planning hasn't gone in that direction just yet. Rowan started officially last week, so we are still kind of moving forward with those plans. But the spirit of CISA is that we do have opportunities for different disciplines to work together. And even if there's a discipline that a student is interested in, where they're not officially working together departmentally, there are lots of ways to still get exposed to that discipline by attending their visiting artist engagements, by going to their evening activities, for example. There are lots of ways where you can get that cross-disciplinary exposure. We also have someone who comes in as a visiting artist to run a interdisciplinary week-long or week and a half long program with a presentation that's done at the end of it. And all disciplines across CISA are open to participate in that. So it's an elective opportunity, but again, another way to get some cross-disciplinary exposure.
Great. And my last question, of course, we all prospective students want to know what's a day in the life of a CSIS student and what can they expect? Is it more like high school? Are they going to have a lot of time? If either of you could speak to that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll go ahead and answer to start out with the schedule. So it's busy. Students are in class 7 days or 6 days a week officially, so Monday through Saturday. And classes start at 9. They usually go until about 4 or 5 p.m. After dinner. They'll typically have evening classes or evening presentations to check out. If not, Open Studio is another thing that takes place at night for a lot of the design or arts disciplines. So they're really in it 24/7 when they're enrolled in the program. We also have some off nights where there might be student activities running. That could be a movie screening. Dodgeball is a typical evening activity during the program, a rather popular one. And then on the weekends, Saturdays for some students can be a bit light. It might go like a half a day. Many do go for the full day, though, and then they're off Saturday night into Sunday, which is that day that we do the optional field trips. So it's really a rigorous schedule. It is for college credit, and so they're really immersed with those contact hours 6 days a week in class. Of course, with that though comes a lot of enjoyment, a lot of fulfillment as you're getting to express yourself and go farther with your creativity than you ever envisioned. And it's a really inspiring environment. So rigorous schedule, but 100% inspiring as well. Good. It looks like there's another question in the chat. So, an individual question. I'm a runner and thinking about continuing training during the summer. There are places to run. It's quite a big campus, and there are sidewalks and safe paths that you can go on around campus. We will have a designated area where students can go. But as I said, it's a pretty big campus, so you'll have plenty of room to keep up with your running training in the morning or in the evenings. Right. Are we allowed off campus? So students are allowed to leave campus from Saturday night to Sunday if they have permission from a parent or guardian. Otherwise, they are restricted to staying on campus. You can't, for example, go and take an Uber, down the road. You really are stuck on campus, exploring your creativity during that Monday through Saturday course schedule. And then we do facilitate a parent or guardian pickup on Saturday afternoons in front of the dorms. And again, a student will need to be given permission in order to do that. All right. Jessica, did you have any final thoughts or questions? Or you said you had two more. Did we get to both of those?
I would love to hear what Rowan's most excited about for this new journey for his students. Yeah, any inspiration as they're working on their applications can you share with us?
I think what I find wonderful with these programs is the sense of community that students feel being together, all part of, a group and learning, having fun, working towards certain things that they all feel are valuable. So I think it's really that idea of being together, working together, being in this kind of environment that always inspires me every time I'm there and am able to experience it. And I feel really that sustainability regeneration is still something that needs to take more importance. So I'm also really excited to be able to share some of this knowledge, also from the people who will be coming and sharing their expertise with the students and hopefully really inspiring them. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Rowan. All right. So I think we'll go ahead and whoops, Taryn, you got in with one more question. Let's see. Will there be any lectures or discussion about innovative new age structural or building materials?
Yes, they
Okay.
will absolutely be that. Yeah. We'll be looking at the past and we'll be looking at the present and future and looking at the building technologies that existed and why and how they perform so well, and then everything that exists now and how efficient it is and everything else, and also looking at the building codes and how we have to navigate with this framework around us as well. So really integrating all of these different facets.
Wonderful. All right, well, we'll go ahead and close out the webinar. If you have more questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us, comments at cisa.ca.gov. We will get this recording up on our YouTube channel within the next day or so you can watch it again if you want to revisit. Otherwise, good luck on your applications. We can't wait to see what you produce, and we're here to help if you have any questions. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you. Hopefully see you soon.